Andrew, good to talk to you. We're obviously
Thanks,
hosting this CEEC Tailings workshop in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
And I'm interested to know what direction you think it might go in and what people might get out of it.
Well, I think what I'd like to get out of it, people have a general understanding of tailings and how they are generated and where they fit in the metallurgical process. But generally, metallurgists focus on the upstream part of the plant, and kind of very few metallurgists are kind of that interface between the metallurgical plant and the geotechnical side of things, or the tailing side of things. And that interface for me is quite important. I think that's where the sort of tailings engineer fits. He's a metallurgist, but he's got to know some geotechnical stuff. And I think what I'd like the people to get out of this, is the metallurgists specifically, is to get a bit more understanding of behavior of tailings, how to make tailings, and then what the geotechnical people kind of want as well, and bring that knowledge base a little bit up. I mean, what do you think you would like to get out of it? What do you think that?
You've had a well-regarded career in tailings. I've had some years and sort of fallen into the field. What has surprised me is the number of things that seem to matter a lot that most people intuitively wouldn't recognize, or metallurgists wouldn't recognize. And I think what surprised me is, looking across a large number of projects every year, I see projects where the tailings dewatering properties are simple and easy, and other projects that you would expect might perform similarly, but actually perform much differently. And I've come across a series of edge cases, perhaps, or operations that have trialed things and they've worked. And some of those outcomes have been surprising to me. And they open up a question to me of, what tricks are we really missing? What don't we understand? And how can that fundamentally change the way we approach the dewatering, storage, placement, closure, rehabilitation of tailings facilities? And I'm looking forward to being part of a big group with a good cross-section of experience to be able to unpack those ideas.
Yeah, and I think you've kind of touched on it there quite nicely. You're saying what tricks we've missed. And I think really it comes down to very few things that, if we as metallurgists understand, we're able to manipulate and get ourselves out of those problems. You know, it's not as though the problems are fixed on us and we can't do anything about them. If you understand a little bit about clay and water, you're able to manipulate and get yourself out of problems. And those problems don't extend to the tailing side of things. It actually influences all the way up the metallurgical circuit if you get them right. So yeah, I think that those are kind of things, and there's not a lot of them, and they're not difficult either once you understand them. And I think these are little tricks that I'm hoping that the participants will learn and take away from the course.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think if we can leave the audience with, and they can inform us as well, because, you know, let's face it, we're limited by our own experience, but, you know, a large room of people has experience that probably covers 80% of the globe's operations, I suspect, in that room. We'll be able to draw on that collective knowledge and, as an output from that, produce a white paper and some documentation that provides a good path forward for the industry, that hopefully gives the industry many more options than the directions we've been going, which have tended towards either whole of ore tailings, wet storage in conventional dams, or really the only competitor case seems to be full dry stack tailings. And there isn't a lot that exists in the middle.
That's right. That's right. We kind of got very few technologies available to us. And I think what would come clear out of this is that we are changing the flow sheet to make things a little bit easier, to try and allow us to make some tailings easier, but you finally end up with something that's a smaller fraction, but even more difficult to handle. And how do we handle that in the future going forward?
Definitely a few topics to unpack.
Yes.
Well, definitely looking forward to it.
Me too.